I'm sure many people assume crime prevention is just the role of or the job of law enforcement. But how much of it actually depends on individuals and communities?
I think the larger portion of it depends on individuals and communities because the eyes and ears of the police is the community. If you see something, you have to say something, right? The police is there to catch and prosecute and then send it off to prosecution, right? Of course, they have more authority than us, but what's also important, we have to understand, if we don't cooperate with the police, then they cannot do their job. We cannot go around complaining, oh, no point, I complain to the police, they are not going to take action. No. One of the years it was very interesting. People felt that crime rates were going up within society. They felt that crime rates were going, and this was the thing in Malaysia. Everyone felt that because every day we read in the paper crime, and then the police came out with statistics. Crime rates are actually going down, right? So people went ballistic, said, what nonsense are you talking about? And their reply was very simple. We are only reporting what we have on our statistics, which means
Yes.
crime rates might have been high. But if the public doesn't report it, they cannot take action on it. They cannot build strategies around it. They cannot do anything because even they don't know what crimes are happening. So society plays a pivotal role in encouraging the reduction of crime.
So it's clear that understanding crime isn't just about law enforcement, it's about the prevention too.
Yes,
Okay.
prevention.
So with the rise of cybercrime, the lines between physical and digital threats are becoming blurred. In your experience, how is cybercrime evolving and what should people must be most concerned about?
Very good question, and I think especially, I'm sure yourself as well as a cybersecurity expert, you've seen how exponentially crime has grown within a short period, especially when we talk about cybercrime, right? At one point it was just simple phishing. Phishing now is so elementary. At one point phishing was easy. Now it's something that a school student can do, right? And now you've got all these deep fakes, AI voice cloning. We had that case about which went viral where this guy went online Zoom with the bosses and the managers asking him to approve a payment, and he approved and everyone was not even real. It was all deep fakes. And also that's the thing, right? With the way technology has evolved, crime is growing so fast. It's going at such a fast pace that I think it's even difficult to anticipate what's coming next.
True.
Yeah. So
With the pace that we are growing in now.
in the same ways as there are more and more tools for you to use every year or every few months. Somebody is developing something for cybersecurity purposes. The same way, criminals are also developing something for crime. Right? So
True.
it's moving so fast.
With cybercrime evolving so quickly, are we seeing more traditional criminals shifting into digital crime?
I wouldn't say they are, but what is happening is that there are still going to be a lot of traditional criminals. Because why? People are going
They are happy in their own space, is it?
Yes, now you've got less competition. You've got less competition going on, right? When we look at how everybody is moving into digital, not say everybody, most people are moving into digital crime. It's very interesting when we conduct workshops and we ask people, okay, what are you afraid of, right? And they will talk, okay, I'm afraid of becoming a victim of scam. I'm afraid that somebody's going to steal my money from the bank, right? But you're forgetting that when you go out, somebody might snatch your bag. And those crime rates are still there, right? So people, I think, to a slight extent, are forgetting about traditional crime, which makes traditional crime easier to commit, right? You're a bit more complacent. You're a bit more absent-minded when you go out. So those kind of things will always be there. And the thing about traditional crime as well, some of the main contributors to that are things like lust. Lust doesn't go away with the technological era. It's still there. For example, if you talk about rape, the main reason why rape happens is because of lust. It's because men cannot control lust. That's the main reason. Nothing to do with the way you dress. It's nothing to do with you being a woman. Just that you cannot control lust. And with how technology has evolved, the lust is still there. In fact, now it's more accessible with all the pornographic material available online. So now your thought process has evolved as well. So that's why as we look at at how crime is, if we look at even traditional crime, sometimes it gets a bit more violent or a bit more, it's a bit more brazen because of technology. So it still comes hand in hand. I wouldn't say that traditional crimes will not go away. It will always be there.
Social engineering is one of the biggest threats today.
Yep.
Our listeners would be interested to know, why would cybercriminals rely so much on psychological manipulation rather than just hacking systems?
Because cybersecurity experts focus on hacking prevention. So while you guys are preventing people from hacking a system, they realize it's too much work. It's like fighting fire with fire. Why do I want to compete against a person who is an expert? Let me target now people who have little or minimal knowledge on IT or cyber related stuff and get money from there. So let's just look at a little bit of data as well. If we look at how much can I get if I hack your company? I hack your company, I'm probably going to maybe a ransomware, for example. How much can I make? A few $100,000 USD. But if I scam people or I target everyday people, now I've got a bigger pool of people to target, right? If it's a company, it's just me against you. And you have a whole team behind you, I have a whole team behind you, but we are fighting fire with high fire, right? Now I've got the larger part of society. In Malaysia alone, we've got 30 million people, 33 million people. Why shouldn't I target them, right? Again, these are not my words, I'm just being the devil's advocate here, right? Why shouldn't I target them? We always talk about business. Sell to the masses. This is what you do. You scam the masses, right? So that's why, and it's profitable. It's billions of ringgit in Malaysia. We lose billions of ringgit to cyber criminals, to scammers every year, right? That's where the money is.
So you work with law enforcement and regulatory bodies. Are they keeping up with this rapid evolution of cybercrime?
Yes and no, I have to say. Because the reason why I say yes and no is because they can only take action once. For example, if somebody reports it, if they don't report it, even they don't know what's going on, right? For example, if you become a victim of deepfake, until you choose to report it, they don't know. And now that you've reported it, now they have to start the investigation process. So it's a cat and mouse game, right? But at the moment, the mouse is ahead. Yeah, so until even maybe enforcement agencies start thinking like criminals, we will not be able to be ahead of them.
One of your certifications is in human trafficking prevention and intervention.
Yeah.
This is an issue that many people underestimate. What are some of the biggest misconceptions about human trafficking?
That it only happens to women or that it only happens to children. Forced labor is a form of human trafficking. People always think human trafficking is just for the sex trade or for organs. It's not. We have one is forced labor. So they are trafficked to another country. And this happens to men as well, mainly men, for hard labor. Of course, women are brought in mainly for the sex trade. Men are brought in for hard labor. So this is one form of human trafficking that people don't talk about. You're forced to work 14 hours a day, 15 hours a day. You're not paid a proper salary. You're forced to live in a room with 10 other people. It's like prison. So and then you wake up early morning, you go, you work, you come back. You are sometimes not even given a salary. You're beaten. All of that is part of human trafficking. So I think a lot of people forget and they always think, oh, it's only women, it's only children.
Right. Our listeners would be interested to know, what are some warning signs that someone might be a victim of trafficking and how can we help?
So one of the things, if you want to see if the child is a victim of trafficking, one of it you'll probably want to see, do they look anything like the parents they are with? Sometimes you see kids on the road begging with the parents, right? Chances are it's probably not their real parents as well. Right. It's a very sad thing when it happens to children. One is that I would have to say if the child is very young, the positive to it is that they probably don't remember the process. But if the child's at a point where, maybe they're 5 years old, 6 years old, they remember who their parents are. But they go through the anxiety of being kidnapped, right? Suddenly new environment, then you're abused in this environment. So it's a very, very sad thing to see. But what are some of the signs usually when you see if the person feels a bit out of place, they're not supposed to be there, but they're doing a certain job they're not supposed to be doing, those are all signs of human trafficking. So for example, if somebody comes here and they're working in, let's just say, hard labor, working so many hours, when they go back, They don't have a proper place to stay. Ask them, when was the last time you got your salary? Haven't gotten it yet. So those are all signs of definitely they are victims of human trafficking. Right? How much did you pay to come here? All those sort of things, right? They're all victims of human trafficking. So some very basic signs to just look at a person and say, hey, your victim is not as easy, but sometimes you see people traveling, maybe a guy and a girl, and you just see something is off about them. Probably a victim of human trafficking. Right? People are scared to ask for help. Foreigners are brought in from other countries, don't speak the local language. How are they going to ask for help? So those are all ways traffickers use, people become victims of human trafficking.
Technology is playing a huge role in both enabling and combating trafficking. I'm curious, how are traffickers using digital platforms and what's being done to stop them?
So one of the ways that trafficking is being used now with technology is this thing that they call the job scams, right? What happens by that is that, just say, Rakesh, I'm going to offer you a job, right? We are going to go to Dubai and work. I'm going to pay you $50,000 a month because I see your technical skills, right? You're amazing, you're a cybersecurity expert, right? Looking at your profile, I want to give you this job. You say, okay, then we'll make all the arrangements, we'll have the interview. And here's the thing, because now with technology, I don't have to see you face to face. Like what we are doing now, I'm just having an interview with you. We have the interview, and the person interviewing you will not be a person full of tattoos and all. They'll be the most normal looking person. They'll probably be dressed better than you, right? Definitely better than you.
Most sophisticated, the white collar with tie blazer, everything on.
Right? And then they'll tell you, okay, don't worry, we'll get you sorted out. You and some of these other people which we have hired, meet at the airport on this day. We will sort out your flight details or everything. So you go, and there's an agent, right, who's going to take you to your new job. What's the first thing you will do? They'll say, okay, come, give me your passport. Will you give your passport? Yes. Okay, come, I've got all your tickets. I'm going to check in for you. You check in. And after you pass the gate, you realize something is wrong. Why is our flight heading maybe to Cambodia instead of Dubai? Why is it heading to Myanmar instead of Dubai, for example? And then you start questioning them, and then they turn around and say, look, I've got your passport. I know where your family is. I know where this is. I know where your mother is staying. If you don't follow me now, somebody is going to hurt them. So what are you going to do at that point of time? You're suddenly put in a situation, you don't know how to react yet. So you are going to comply. And that's how it happens. They use technology, post up job ads to enable you to apply for a job. That's it. So, it's a big thing around here in Asia, job scams, right? They set up these scam centers all around, and you're forced to work there. And if you don't, you go there and you decide not to work there, they abuse you. So that's part of it. And how technology can be used to exploit people. But also, how can it be used to combat it? The good thing about technology now also is that, imagine if you're always active on social media, suddenly you go missing. Then there's a sign as well. People be like, hey, my friend has not responded. I'm trying to call him. Those days, if I want to connect with you, I probably have to write a letter. Then I have to put it in a mailbox, send it over. I wouldn't know if you've received it or not. But now, I can send you a WhatsApp. I can send you a message. Hey, how come Rakesh hasn't gotten back to me? Something is off. Why was the last time I saw he was online was 1 week ago? He should have told me. He's a good buddy of mine. So this is how it helps. And then where was your phone last pinged? Oh, at the airport. Oh, in Myanmar maybe. I don't know, right? But that's what it is. At least it helps at some point.
That's incredibly insightful. There's so much to unpack here.